Good morning, good afternoon to our next webinar with the topic Millennium Access Control. My name is Thorsten Reibel. I'm sitting here together, as always, with Jürgen Schilder. Good, the duration for today is around 1 hour, as always. And the topic is Millennium Access Control. It's a bit specific topic, let's say. It's a KNX topic, and at the first glance, it might not matter everybody of you, but I think it's worth, or we think it's worth to talk about, to inform you about a solution which is not completely new. It's a bit updated right now, and have a look, and then you can decide by yourself whether it's interesting for you. Yeah, it's a solution, let's say, more or less project-oriented. So it's a case-by-case decision to integrate this into a project. It's also made for dedicated type of projects, we will see. And but it's already in use in a lot of projects all over the world, and we will show you also some references of already existing projects with the solution. Let's have a look to the agenda. What is planned for today within the next hour? We will give you first of all an overview of the system, and as mentioned, some reference projects. The hardware of the system consists of more or less 3 components. The Access Control Transponder reader, then we need a programming device, and additionally Access Control Transporter holder or card holder, more or less. And to this system belongs the software, MiniMAC, which allows you to program the solution. We will give you, of course, also an overview of the range and which kind of marketing tools and also documentation is available. Today neither myself nor Jürgen will help this webinar. We have a guest speaker today. It's Diego Calzaniga from ABB in Italy. He's a product manager, and he will give you now the presentation to the topic Millennium Access Control. Just a moment, please. I hand over to Diego now, and then he will start with the presentation.
Thank you, everybody, for participating. As Thorsten was saying, I'm Diego Calzaniga. I'm the Global Product Manager here in Italy for KNX product, in particular for Italian flash-mounted KNX device, Milos KNX range, and access control device, access control solution we're discussing today during this webinar. During this webinar, we'll discuss about access control. I want to explain you that we have in our catalog, as Thorsten was saying, different range. One range is available for years, and the other range, Millennium, we discussed together, is a news from the last year and this year. Before starting to the description of the range, I go in details. A couple of words about the segmentation. So, what about access control solution? Most of you knows maybe that there are on the market many access control solutions. For example, for tertiary application like bank, factories, company, public office, and so on. These access control solutions are, let me say, more related to professional, specialized company that offer this solution for company, banks, factory, and so on. And usually the main request is the integration, for example, with the internal software like SAP or so on. The other kind of access control solution we can find on the market are more related to hospitality, so to hotels. And the main need in this case is the guest management, the comfort, so the possibility to manage access to room in a hotel application. Our access control solution from ABB covers this left part, so the hotels of hospitality is not related to the professional access control, mainly related to banks, office, and so on. Regarding the main application, one of the important application functionality that can be covered with our access control are for sure the supervision, the centralized supervision of your solution or your access control solution with a software. I'll show you later. A software with which it's possible to manage all the functionality that are part of access control solution, and in particular at the reception you can have the check-in and check-out. You can create the cards, delete the card, duplicate card, or you can also control the status of all the room at the reception and see the history, for example, of access and so on. Another important requirement is about security. With our access control solution, it's possible to manage the access to the room in a secure way, since every room has a specific card, a specific programmed card, valid only for the staying of the guest. So it's the security is an important functionality covered by our solution. Other kind of application, for example, energy efficiency. You know that in the hotels it's important to have to pay attention to consumption, energy consumption, both for the lighting, but especially for heating and cooling. With access control, it's possible to manage this kind of application. For example, we'll see with our card holder, it's possible to automatically switch on or switch off the loads, electrical loads of the room when the guests enter or exit the room. Last, it's possible to have some value-added service, since you know that in the hotel we have not only rooms, but we can have also additional service like wellness, fitness, car parking, and so on. It's easy to manage this kind of additional service with access control, since okay, we can add transponder reader in different in these several additional gates that are included in a hotel in addition to the room. Going in more details to the range, what about our range? First of all, it's important to underline that our access control range is a range completely integrated into KNX Building Automation installation. So this means that we'll see later we have an ATS file, so the device can be completely programmed like an ATS device, and every device can be installed in a KNX line under a line coupler, under power supply, so it behaves exactly as a KNX standard device. So the device, I told you before, are programmed by ETS, by the standard software for KNX. And last, the system configuration is then performed by MiniMAC. So after having programmed the device with ETS, it's possible to program the device in the MiniMAC software, which is the access control software for creating the installation. So it's the system integrator that use at the beginning this software. Later, after the installation, is the user, so the hotel receptionist, the hotel owner, the staff of the hotel that use for the day-by-day activities, like, for example, creation of the card, the check-in, check-out, and so on. Here, a small overview of the architecture of our solution. You can see on the right that our device, transponder reader outside the room and transponder holder inside the room are the device that can be installed into a KNX line. So again, remember that these devices are KNX devices, so completely integrable in a building automation solution. What about the range? I told you before that we have in our catalog two different ranges. On the left, you see Chiara, Elos, and Milos access control. These are access control solution. Is an access control solution available for Italian market or for every country in which we have Italian standard for the installation, so rectangular wall boxes. It's a range available for years, so we have many references we can see later. On the right, on the contrary, you can see the Millennium Access Control. Millennium Access Control is a range available from last year. Last year, the transponder reader was launched. This year, the card holder. So we have now a complete range, and Millennium Access Control solution is for British standard installation. So for the country in which you have British standard for this British standard installation. This is, in generally speaking, okay, but as already presented also by Thorsten, we are speaking about a project solution. So its hotel applications are mainly based on projects, and so can happen that this solution also, if Chiara, Milos, and Elos are for Italian standard and Millennium is for British standard, can happen that you can have a project in which the hotel owner or the building contractor accept to use for the access control device, so the reader and the holder, an installation standard that is different from the typical installation standard for one country. So this means that these products are obviously mainly related to Italian market, the left one, and country with Italian standard, and British standard market or country with British standard installation, the right ones, but it's possible, theoretically speaking, the range is available all over the world in ABB, so if you have a project on, it's possible to evaluate case by case, and it's possible to use. Going details about the range, consider that the range, I repeat that we have the Italian range, Italian wiring accessories, the Chiara Milos and Delos range, which is for Chiara Milos and Delos wiring accessories range, and the Millennium Access Control for Millennium wiring accessories range. Both the range, you can see on the last point, require an additional power supply. So they require for sure the KNX installation, the KNX power supply, and in addition to the KNX power supply, they require this additional power supply in the range showed in this last point. This additional power supply grant that the installation is working also if you have the KNX bus that fall down. This is an important security aspect, since this means that if for some reason the KNX bus is not working, the additional power supply grants that the customer, so the guest, can enter the room. In terms of installation standard, I show you that Chiara Milos and Delos is for rectangular box Italian standard, and Millennium for British standard. Also, if it fits, theoretically speaking, also in the VDI box, German standard, so the round boxes, but also it fits, remember that you have to use the Millennium wiring accessories range, since the aesthetic is for Millennium wiring accessories range. In terms of functionality, the devices are different. So Chiara Milos and Delos have three binary inputs and 2 outputs, 8 ampere. The Millennium device has 1 binary input and 1 output, 4 ampere in the 24 volt CDC. So these are the summary of the main functionality. Now, before going details, remember that during this webinar, we'll go in details in Millennium, about Millennium Access Control range. I present you also the Chiara Milos, which is for Italian standard. Maybe in the future we can organize a different webinar, another webinar on Chiara Milos and Delos, but now we'll go in details in Millennium. Before going details about Millennium, a couple of references I want to show you. Reference on the Chiara Milos and Delos range, which is available for more than 10 years on the market, especially in the Italian market, but also in other countries. I show you. So, for example, we have many references from the small one to the big one. So the solution is fully scalable from the small bed and breakfast, 5-10 rooms, to hundreds of rooms. Here, in the following, I show you some overview, some reference of, for example, big hotels. We had in the Middle East area hotels for example, the Movenpick in Riyadh, Dubai. So big projects in Saudi and in Dubai. And generally speaking, more than 6 luxury hotels with more than 300 rooms. Then we have also the segment of mid-high hotels. So here we have some example from Italy, Bologna and Turin, but we have also other example in Europe. So we are speaking about rooms, hotels with rooms from 50 to more than 100. And then last, also the small hotels. So we had here some example again in Italy with the small hotels from 10 to 30 rooms. But theoretically speaking, we had many applications here in Italy with also small bed and breakfast of 5, 6, 7 rooms. We have also some reference around the Europe. I told you that where we have the Italian standard installation or on project basis, you can use for sure this solution. For example, we had the last year a big project in Greece, in Crete Island. Here is more than 130 rooms, for example, more or less. Then we have a couple of years ago this camping, this village in the Montpellier area in France, more than 50 apartments. And then we have also recently, not recently, sorry, but more or less 5 years ago, an hotel also in the Balkan area in Macedonia, Hotel Solun. So there are different references, and since the range is, again, as told you before, is available from years, the Italian standard range. Now we enter in details in the Millennium range, which is the new range available for the British standard installation. So first point is about the technology. Our access control range is a MIFARE contactless solution. So this means that the reader, the holder, and the cards we have in our solution are based on the MIFARE. MIFARE is a contactless air-feed de facto standard. We are speaking about 13.56 megahertz. Is a standard that grants better security, since if needed, it's possible to have encrypted data exchanged between the cards and the devices. Higher speed, so when the data are exchanged between device and cards. And then multi-application. This means, is an important aspect, means that theoretically speaking, you can have with this access control, with the MIFARE card, manage of different applications. So not only our access control, but theoretically speaking, with one single card, the card used for accessing the room, you can also manage additional service like payment service. So for example, you can pay the restaurant, or you can enter the car parking, or so on. Another important aspect is that the MIFARE is fully compliant with NFC. So you can see that NFC is one of the most typical applications that you can find more and more in the smartphone. So going details to the multi-application. Multi-application means that on the cards you can have, for example, a memory sector dedicated to access control, and theoretically speaking, another memory sector is free and separated for manage additional service like payment or so on. Obviously, it's important to understand and underline that this integration, this multi-application possibility is not automatic, but it's a possibility that is up to the system integrator. So the system integrator, when he works with the MIFARE, and for example with our MIFARE access control, it can, if the customer wants, can integrate on one single card both access control and other service, but it's an integration that has to be done by the system integrator. Going details about the hardware point of view, this is the front, the rear part of the transponder reader. You can see here on the left part, on the bottom part on the right, the KNX connection. We are speaking about KNX device, so you can see the KNX connection. On the left part, you can see the KNX push button and the programming LID for the KNX programming. On the bottom part, on the other top part, sorry, you can see the external power supply here, since remember the device requires an external power supply, and you can see the output, 24 volt AC/DC 4 ampere output, and one binary input. I'll show you later how is used this binary input, how can be used this binary input. Okay, on the front, the device is simple. It shows on the right top bottom part, an LID, a green LED LID that can show some status about the programming or about the card validation and so on, but at the same time you can have two communication objects on ATS, so the green and LED and red LED can be freely programmed via ATS. For example, for showing some status commands or notification like from the hotel, for example, make up a room or do not disturb. The ATS programming is very simple. Remember, it's a KNX device, so you can, via ATS, you can program freely the device. The ATS file is very simple, and the most important configuration is the output configuration. So remember, the output, the device has one output, and this output can be configured in 3 different ways. I show you now which are these 3 different ways. the first configuration is linked to access control. What does it mean? It means that the output, the relay of the transponder reader, can be connected, so can react to card validation. So this means that the customer put a card near the card reader. The card is valid, programmed is valid. So if the card is valid, the output is closed. So the electric door lock is controlled and the door open. So this is the main important, the first configuration is linked to access control. In this configuration, you have also the possibility to use the binary input. The binary input is summarized here in the slide, and with the binary input, you can connect, if you want, a conventional card holder. This is, you can see on the left, the conventional card holder from Millennium wiring accessories range, from Nissan catalog. So this means that you can connect, you can integrate in your access control installation also a conventional card holder. Why this possibility? Since in one access control installation, I show you later, we have the reader, this device, outside the room, and the holder inside the room. We have in our range the holder, I show you later, but in some installation in which the hotel owner, the building contractor want to save, want to reduce the cost, since don't want also the card holder, the access control card holder inside, you can put in the installation inside the room this conventional card holder. Conventional card holder is a wiring accessories device, no access control, no error feed, no MIFARE technology, but only a contact, a micro switch. This means that you can insert every kind of card, also your business card if you want, and you can switch the light. You can control the contact of the card holder. But if you connect this card holder with the binary input or transponder reader, this card holder enter your access control installation, and so you can know with this configuration if someone entered the room. And so, for example, you can create some scenes, or you can create some other command, for example, switching on or switching off the light. Next configuration is Actuator. What is Actuator? Actuator means that the output, so the output you have on the transponder reader is freely programmable. So VATS, you can decide this output with which push button, KNX push button can be connected. So it's a freely programmable output. You can control this output for every KNX push button, for every KNX device. It's like an output from the switch actuator, from a traditional KNX DOA product we have in KNX range. In this configuration, how can I open my door, the electric door lock? I can do this using a KNX communication object. So this means that when you put the card near to the reader, the reader is able to send one communication object, one KNX telegram, to the switch actuator, for example, an external switch actuator, that can control the electric door lock. This could be an advantage in terms of security when, for example, the hotel owner don't want to have the output which control the door directly on the device, since maybe it's afraid that someone can open the device and short circuit. Okay. Then going to the next slide, we can see the third configuration, linked to card holder. What does it mean? It means that in this case the output or the transponder reader is linked to the card insertion, card removal event. So when I connect the conventional card holder from wiring accessories Millennium range to the reader, and I insert or remove one card from this device, the output close or open. So this output is linked to the input, in this case to the transponder, conventional transponder card holder. What about again the controlling of the electric lock? The electric lock can be controlled also in this case with a KNX communication object. You know, in addition, remember that when you insert remove the card, you have an additional you have an additional communication object for notifying that the card is inserted or removed. We'll show you this later in the presentation. So it's important to remember with these three configurations: linked to the card holder, linked to access control, and actuator. What about the additional functionality? I told you that when the card is put near to the reader, we have the card is valid. We can control directly the electric door lock. Usually, the application is that we can control directly with the output, or you can use this KNX communication object, which is called card acknowledgement. It's 1-bit object, and you can have this object, one for the guest card and one for the service card. Why this differentiation? Since in the MiniMAC, so in an access control software, we can create two different cards for the guest and card for the service, so for the staff. So we have on card validation the possibility to send these two communication objects, 1 bit for the guest and 1 bit for the service. And with this communication object, we can control, for example, I showed you before, an external KNX actuator. Okay. The next functionality, additional functionality, is the 1 byte object. So also in this case, the same functionality as before. So I put the card near the transponder reader, the card is valid. I can send 1-bit object, but I can send also 1 byte object. So 1 byte object for guest card, 1 byte object for service card. Why? Since 1 byte object, for example, can be sent can be sent to the device, KNX device, for example, the room master. So with 1 byte, only 1 byte, I can notify to room master, and room master on card validation execute a scene, control the electric door lock, the cartridge light, the shutter, and so on. Another communication object, used for notifying on KNX bus some information is related to the guest in the room. So when I insert the card, in the transponder reader, in the transponder holders, sorry, I can send one message, 1-bit message, for example, to one external actuator or to a thermostat or so on. The same concept, but with 1 byte object. When you insert the card in the card holder, the conventional card holder connected to the binary input, or when you remove the card from the conventional card holder connected to the binary input, you can send 1 byte object. Again, this 1 byte object can be sent to the room master, for example, or other KNX device that execute some commands, so control different electrical loads, for example, light, socket outlets, and shutters, or so on. Summarizing, here in this table, you can see that the main important configuration we have in our transponder reader is related to the output. We can choose if the output is linked to access control, means that the output is linked to the card validation event. Linked to the card holder means that the output is linked to the card insertion removal in the card holder, conventional card holder, which is connected to the transponder reader. Actuator means that the output is a standard output, could be seen as a standard output from the switch, like the switch actuator, the DIN switch actuator from KNX range. So going to the next point, the next point is related to the transponder programming device. Transponder programming device is the device installed at a reception. So it has to be clear that the reader, what we are seeing till now, is the device that is installed outside the room. It's used to open the room, to control the opening of the room, of the door of the room. The transponder programming device instead is the device installed at the reception, so it's used from the staff, from the hotel staff, to program the cards. So to create, delete the cards, to check-in, check-out operation. An important aspect to remember is that our transponder programming device is not a different order code, but is exactly the same order code of the transponder reader. So this means that when you want a transponder programming device in your installation, you need only to order the transponder reader. So the same exactly device. The only difference is that you need to program in MiniMAC. This is a screenshot of MiniMAC. You have to program in different way, to configure, so in different way, the reader, the programming device, but it's the same exact device. Now, going details to describe the transponder holder. So the transponder holder is the device installed inside the room. So inside the room of inside the guest room, you can have the transponder holder. So usually the guest, enter the room, putting the card near to the transponder reader, which is which is outside the room, near to the door. When you put a valid card, the door is open, cartridge light is switched off, and then is switched on, sorry, for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. The guest has the time to reach the transponder holder and insert the card in transponder holder. Usually, when you insert the card in the transponder holder, you can you switch off automatically lighting, or you activate the heating and cooling and so on. This is the complete solution with our card holder, so MIFARE card holder. Remember that you have the possibility in projects in which you don't have, you have cost saving from the building contractor or so on, you can use inside the room, instead of the card holder from access control, you can use the conventional card holder. Is exactly what we have described before in the slide before, and in this case the conventional card holder is connected to the installation thanks to the binary input we have on the card reader, on the transponder reader. So going details, here is the real part of the transponder holder. You can see that is very similar to the card reader, to the transponder reader. So we have the KNX bus connection here, the programming LID and the programming push button for KNX here. We have on the top right part the external power supply, and we have here the output 4 ampere 24 volt AC/DC and a binary input. So exactly the same configuration. On the front it's different. We have a slot in which you can insert the card, and we have LID, which is white color, a white LID blinking, an LID that is blinking when the customer, when the guest has not yet inserted the cards. Once the guest has inserted the card, the LID switch off. We have in addition a communication object in ATS file for switching on or off the LID, for example, for supervision or so on. Again, it's an ATS, it's a KNX device, so we have an ATS file. The most important configuration is the configuration, again, of the output. So we have two main configurations for the transponder holder. The configuration is the first configuration is the simplest one, Actuator. This means that the output is used, can be freely programmed to control every load you want, and can be controlled this output from every KNX device. Or in this case, the activation, for example, of the light, of the heating, when you insert a card, a valid card in the card holder, so a programmed card in the card holder, is done by an external communication object. Please remember that when you have the holder, the transponder card holder from Access Control, Millennium Access Control, so the MIFARE card holder, only a valid card, so a MIFARE card programmed via MiniMAC, can be recognized as valid and send a message to activate or deactivate the lighting. So remember that it's a solution in which not every card, for example, business card or so on, can be used, but only MIFARE card programmed via MiniMAC. So it's it grants a higher security level to hotel owner. the second configuration of the output is linked to access control cards. What does it mean? It means that I insert a valid card, a MIFARE card programmed via MiniMAC into the card holder, and the output is a reactor, so closed or open when you insert or move the cards. In this case, I can activate, for example, the lights in my room. Usually, you know that in hotel, when I insert the card, I don't need only controlling of the lights, but I want to control, for example, the socket outlet or the heating and cooling. No problem, since in this case we have a KNX communication object, an additional communication object that can be used to send a telegram to an external actuator, and it's the external actuator that can control these loads. For example, socket outlet, heating and cooling, or so on. What about this communication object that we can call notification communication object, exactly like in the example we had with the transponder reader? The first communication object I want to show you is the insertion removal guest card or service card. This means that we have two communication objects, one for guest card and one for service card. Remember, the reason is that since we have on MiniMAC the possibility to differentiate between guest and service card. So this means that when I insert or remove a valid card from the card holder, a communication object can be sent by the card holder to a KNX device. So, and then the KNX device can do what they want. For example, can switch on or off the light. Remember that usually when you remove the cards, you want to have a delayed commutation, since you want that the customer has the time to exit the room before the lighting switch off. Then next slide is remember to the same functionality, so the same possibility to have some notification when the guest or service card are inserted or removed from the card holder, but in this case not a 1 bit is sent, but a 1 byte SYN object is sent. For example, in this case the object, the telegram is sent to a KNX device like the room master or so on, and then the room master can control different loads like heating and cooling, shutter, socket outlet, lighting, and so on. Here, a summary of the configuration we have for the card holder. The configuration of the outputs is two possible configurations. The first is actuator. This is or linked to access control cards. No, this means that you have no linking of the output to the card holder, link of the output to the card insertion removal event. And in this case, when you insert the card or remove the card from the device, from the card holder, it's an external actuator that can be controlled the light thanks to communication object sent by the card holder. The first configuration is linked to access control. This means that when you insert a card via the card or remove a card, the output is controlled directly, since you recognize that there is a valid card that is inserted or removed. So we have seen all the range in terms of audio device, the transponder reader, the transponder programming device, which is exactly the same of the transponder reader, but programmed configured in a different way in MiniMAC, and then the transponder card holder. Now we can have a discussion on MiniMAC. MiniMAC is the software used for programming this device. More in details, in particular, it's important to underline that MiniMAC has two main functions. Two main functionalities. MiniMAC is the software used by the system integrator for commissioning. This means the system integrator has to perform two steps for the programming. First step is ETS programming. I've shown you before the ETS file. We are speaking about KNX device. You have to program the ETS to configure the ETS parameter, linking the group address to the communication object, and this is the configuration of the ETS. After, you can import, if you want, or you can create a project in MiniMAC, which is in which you insert your transponder reader, your transponder card holder. This is the MiniMAC. This is the MiniMAC project, and in this is the second step of the commissioning by the system integrator. Once the system integrator has programmed, has configured completely the installation, there is the software can be used by the user. In this case, the user is the hotel staff, hotel people at the staff at reception, hotel owner, and so on. For example, for the day-by-day activity about access control, about hotel. So creation of a card, check-in, check-out, delete of card, viewing of the history, managing the status of the room, and so on. In the following, a couple of screenshots of MiniMAC to show you more in details, which are the main functionalities. So, for example, the check-in, check-out is the main important functionality we have, the main used by the staff, since you have to create and delete the cards when people go in the hotels, arrive in the hotel for the check-in or leave the hotel for the check-out. Then the second, we have here another example about the possibility to have in the key menu the list of cards, and for example, delete some card, create some special card like MasterCard, or duplicating some cards. So activity on the cards. Then you can have also in the menu a list, a database of customers and of employees you have in your MiniMAC, in your hotel. You have also a menu in which you have a list of all the rooms you have in your installation and a status about the room. So if it's empty or occupied, if there are some problems in terms of minibar to be filled, maintenance, or so on, the type of room, number of floors, and so on. Then in this view, you can also access to the supervision, a small supervision menu related to heating and cooling. So in every room you can have, if you want, a KNX thermostat, and using this menu, this view, you can link thermostat communication object to a MiniMAC in order to have a small control of the room heating and cooling. So for example, see the temperature, modify the set point, switching on, switching off the thermostat. So a small supervision related to heating and cooling in the room, but please remember that it's only that MiniMAC is not a supervision software. So especially for big hotels, but not only, MiniMAC offer this kind of additional functionality, not linked to access control, but more related to supervision. But in big hotels, for sure, when you want to manage hundreds of rooms, but not only, also for medium hotels, usually a dedicated KNX supervision is needed, and so MiniMAC is not able to do this. MiniMAC is only the supervision software and the commissioning software for access control. Then can offer, we are seeing now, an additional functionality, for example, here for the heating and cooling, but it's not a KNX supervision software like, for example, Netix, Salesbar, PubTech, or so on. Here also the history menu is very important. We have some requests about the customers is they want to see for every room who accessed the room, maybe in some time period. The room history means that you can see when the room has been occupied, so you can have a complete history of the access of the room and for the occupation of the room, and also of the keys, when the keys is created, and so on. Another important menu is the event history, which is the history of all the. It's like a log file in which have in which are traced all action, all the event performed in access control. It's very important in terms of security, since you have to understand that in this part you have also the list. In one of the columns you have the list of user that performed this operation. Since I show you later that it's possible to create different users in MiniMAC, and it's very recommended to create from the beginning additional user and not only the administrator one, which is the default. This means that you can understand if everyone has his specific, his personal account in MiniMAC. You can see if from every account in this menu you can see every action performed, and so maybe if there is some complaints from the customer, from the guest about, I don't know, some objects or some money stolen from one room, you can see here in this menu maybe if someone from your staff have created cards from one room and maybe was not authorized for do this, or there was not a check-in about this. Another functionality is this supervision menu. Again, is similar to heating and cooling. We have a small supervision menu in MiniMAC. On the bottom right, you can see some small, more or less like a push button. So a push button that be configured, one bit object can be configured linked to KNX communication object. So, for example, you can control here the lighting in the corridor or in the external area of the hotel, or starting the irrigation or so on. And here in the last part, you can see the event management menu, in which, for example, with some pop-up and acoustic signaling, you can have notification if someone happens in the hotel, for example, one bathroom alarm in one of your rooms. So again, this is an additional supervision functionality that we have inserted in MiniMAC. It can be a good opportunity, a good functionality, additional functionality for medium and small hotels. But remember, especially for big hotels, but in general, this is not, MiniMAC is not a supervision software. So for a complete KNX supervision, you have to install, you have to report to other software like Netlist, Baptec, MiniMAC, Asbar, and so on. So MiniMAC is only, repeat, the supervision and commissioning software for access control, not more. Then we have this additional menu that can help, but not more than this. We have the user list, is what we discussed before, related to the event history, so the possibility to have different users. And this, the customer are to be very encouraged to create different users for every different users, one for every people belonging to the staff. Since in this case we can trace detailed every action and who has done this action in your installation. We can have here also a screenshot of the plant view. The plant menu is the menu used by the system integrator at the beginning for importing the ETS project, or for copy and paste or creating from scratch. But it's possible here to create the list of reader and holder and to configure your MiniMAC installation. Then we have again other additional functionality on MiniMAC. For example, we can manage time range. This means that in an installation we can grant access to some rooms or to all rooms, for example, by the staff all the day, but sorry, to all the rooms, not all the day, but for example only in one fixed period of the day, for example from 9 to 12, for example, for people that have to clean the room. Or another important functionality could be the extra access one. This means that with extra access, you can manage automatically the access to some common areas. Think about the car parking or the main entrance or the wellness, the gym. That are some common areas that you can have in your installation, your installation. With this tab, with this functionality, you can automatically doing the check-in give access to the customer, to the guest, not only to guest room but also to this extra access, to additional common access that we have in the hotel. So last couple of words about the application. We have started regarding the differentiation between hospitality, hotel, access control, and the main bank factory, so the tertiary professional access control. The differentiation is still valid, but remember that sometimes it happened also in Italy sometimes, but we have the possibility to use access control also for small office, school, and so on. We have an option in the software for disabling the hotel. In this case means that you remove the check-in and check-out functionality, the room management. So you have the possibility, but remember that also in Italy we have done in the past, but it's it's only a possibility sometimes when the customer has not many requirements about the access control. When the customer requires professional access control with integration with SAP and specific reader and so on, usually there are some specialized solution on the market. Last point is about the language. Remember that MiniMAC is already localized, at least in Italian. In English, we had also a version, localization in French and Spain. So if we have a software that can be already available also in this language, if there are some specific language that maybe you are forced to have in one country, for example, we have only one language that can be managed by hotel owner, we have a localization file that can be shared with you. On project basis, we can evaluate, we can send to you, and maybe you can proceed to the translation. But usually in our installation around the world, English is enough. One detail is about the PMS interface. Remember that especially in big hotels, there are some the so-called PMS software. This software, for example, Micros Fidelio. Now Micros is a company belonging to Oracle Group, and for example, there are Protel. These are two main leaders in guest management software. This means that in these big hotels, we have usually this software used for doing everything in the hotel, so the check-in, check-out, managing the database of the customer, invoicing, payment, and so on. Usually in this big installation, customer, so hotel owner want also access control, but don't want to have two software, so MiniMAC access control software and Fidelio or Protel software. And so for this kind of application, we have developed a plugin, a MiniMAC plugin that is a connection, let me say, to the this PMS software, Fidelio or Protel. And in this kind of application, we have, I can show you later, MiniMAC that is hidden, so is installed but hidden, so the guest, so the customer, people from staff or reception don't see it, but it's working. And then it's the only installed software and used software by the guest, by the staff of the hotel are the Fidelio and Protel software. This means that when you do a check-in by Fidelio, by Protel, this software called ABB Popup, which is installed and hidden in the PC of the hotel receptionist, this software, with this software, a pop-up appear, and the pop-up notify that a card has been created. Once you click on the pencil, it's possible to create the card. So insert the card in the card reader, in the card programming device in MiniMAC, in access control installation, and then you can program. But in this case, MiniMAC is hidden. The guest, the people at reception don't see it. Closing this presentation, a small summary about the range. So we have presented the reader, Millennium transponder reader, the transponder holder, which is installed inside the room, the reader outside the room, the MiniMAC software discussed before, and then the last item is the set of transponder card. This means that we have in our catalog with the ABB logo, tested by ABB, the MIFARE cards. So we can use this for your installation, for the customer installation. The question that sometimes arises is, hotel owner can buy on the market freely some MIFARE cards. The answer is yes, he can. He has to buy MIFARE cards. We have two kinds of MIFARE cards which are compliant to our system, can be used freely without problems. But remember that our cards are tested, so for sure they work. Sometimes on the market, especially the cheapest one that you can find maybe on some website on the Chinese market or so on, there are sometimes some MIFARE cards that are declared as standard, as compliant to MIFARE, but sometimes have some emulation or so on, and so they are not completely compliant to MIFARE. So in this case, the interfacing could be not granted. But theoretically speaking, every standard MIFARE cards can be used for this solution. Last couple of words about documentation and marketing tool. We had this device included in our international KNX product range overview of this year, 2016, and the same for the Millennium catalog. So this device was already included. Then we have a website, international website. I recommend you to see. There are all the documentation uploaded about manual, data sheet, and so on. So you have all the documentation already uploaded. Then another documentation, another important material is about Better Space Hotel. Is a building automation initiative. You can see at this link that there is an hotel that can be navigated. You can like you are moving inside the hotel and see all the ABB solution for the hotel, for the hospitality segment, and in particular also our products. So the Millennium Access Control device we have showed in this webinar. And then also a video. We have a marketing video that can be used to customer. Will be uploaded on the website. But if you need, no problem. Send me a mail, and I can share with you this video for marketing activities and so on. And last but not least, we have the Millennium demo case. So a working demo case, which can be used for showing the static and the device, but more for testing and showing to the customer the main functionality about the car validation and so on. So for showing to the customer how the solution works, and we have in this demo case a small representation of a true hotels, so you can show when you program a valid card for one room, what it happens and so on. We are producing other demo case this year, and during this week, if you are interested, obviously you can contact me to this for understanding if we can send you this demo case. So last slide is about our contact. I'm already presented myself, and I'm the product manager responsible for this product. On the right, you can see also Luisa, the name of Luisa Favero. Luisa is our export specialist. He works here in Italy in our office and is responsible for all the activities related to export. So she's your reference. Reference for all the question, all the requests about information about this range, about pricing, for general pricing, or for example quotation for a specific project. If you want marketing materials, marketing tool, if you want some documentation, or if you want also marketing tools. Okay, so and so on. So. Thank you for your attention. I see some questions in the chat. I hand over to Torsten to continue and closing maybe with some question and answer.
Yes, Diego, thank you so much. Well done. I think it was a good qualified introduction into this access control system from ABB. Yeah, before we answer the questions, allow me maybe to summarize the main points of the system from my side, from my point of view. So ABB's access control is a solution mainly for hotels to assess hotel rooms, but also hotel related areas like car parks, for example, or wellness or spa areas. And it's not a new system, already used in a lot of international hotel projects. More or less we have two different designs. The Italian design, let's say, with a Italian rectangular wall box behind, and a bit newer system now, updated system, the Millennium, for a British standard, but which can be also used in round wall boxes, VDE boxes, for example. It consists of mainly three hardware components. The transponder reader installed, let's say outside the guest room to get access via your program card to the room. Inside the room, you will have then the card holder to insert the card, and then also to take some action in the room. And at the reception, you have this transponder programmer just for administrating the cards, the guest cards. And last but not least, we need a software to complete the solution. Also at the reception for programming, but also for operation and supervision of some functions at the reception. So it's a fully integrated KNX solution based on KNX communication. but the components have also some conventional in and outputs just to connect any conventional components. So a complete solution for hotel access control, as already mentioned, proven in many projects. And last but not least, also these typical hotel management softwares like Hotel or Micros Fidelio can be connected, can be linked to have a complete complete solution finally. Good, maybe some last word. It's as already mentioned by Diego, a case-by-case, project-by-project decision. Is it possible to use? You have seen it's possible to use it internationally. So if you have any project, any idea to integrate this, come back to us, come back to Diego and Luisa, and they'll help you, of course, to find a solution finally. Okay, I have still some final slides for all of us. Diego, can you move the ball to Jürgen, as I'm sitting at Jürgen's PC at the moment, just to allow me to present some final slides. Is just to be said at the moment, we have some news around our training and qualification database. So we have created on our homepage a page where you can get access to all the training and qualification tools or contents we have on different levels. So can be a webinar, can be a tutorial, can be the presentation slides of a webinar, and you can select here depending on the system. So not only KNX, but also Free at Home and Welcome, ABB Welcome, no entry system, which kind of application maybe you would like to choose for training type. So e-learning or webinar or what else. And different languages might be also available, mainly of course English. And then you find here any content you can have a look, can start and can train yourself a bit. So this will be always updated, of course, with new content, but I think it's a good summary of all the training content we have here for you. So it's available on our homepage. Some final words around our next official seminars, presence seminars here in Heidelberg at ABB Stotzkontakt. You know that we have continuously certified training here. So tutor course, as always, will be in October. So to become a tutor means you have to participated in the basic certified training and also in the advanced training already. But we have continuously requests for this kind of course, the tutor course, and we have an additional certified basic course this November. So November 2016. Also maybe for some of you or your customers interesting. So everything here in Heidelberg. And next webinar, 2nd of November. Maybe some of you waited already for this topic, the new logic controller, originally already announced for today, but we have some delays here. So it's planned to have it next time, beginning of November, same time in the morning and in the afternoon. And then we go into this very interesting, powerful component, logic controller. Good, that's so far from our side. Diego, thank you again, very good. So I think a good overview of the system. If you have still questions, send it to us, no problem, or later on by email, no problem as well. Wait for our feedback email, and hope to see you next time again at the 2nd of November this year, of course. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao.